Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Life After Sports. As you guys know, we did a preview yesterday and today. We're going live. We want to talk about the boycotts of all of the pro teams. It started yesterday with Milwaukee Bucks, as you guys know, and then all of the rest of the teams kind of followed in suit, as well as the league. Good news: the league will resume today. But we also want to talk about just overall, how this is impacting professional sports, everything that's going on with all of the rest of the leagues and teams that joined in solidarity to support the issue, or crisis of Jacob Blake. And not just Jacob Blake, but everything that's going on right now with Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and just the aftermath and how the athletes are actually using their platform to say, hey, we're tired of this. If you guys saw the tweet by LeBron, he was like, F this man, we're tired of this. So, we have some professional athletes on, and they will, tell you who they are, share what they are doing right now, and then we're going to go right into our discussion. So take it away, ladies. Who you are, all that good stuff.
Okay, well, my name is Angela Hamlin Blakely. I am a former WNBA college player. I'm a current head basketball coach at Calumet College in Whiting, Indiana. And just my overall thoughts about everything that's going on is very sad. I just think that America in particular, we're just in a very sad place. And I don't think this is anything new. It's just that cameras are available now for it to be filmed. So, as far as, the young man, Jacob Blake, that was shot a couple days ago in Kenosha, Wisconsin, it's just very unfortunate. And I just wonder if there was another way that could have been done.
Hi, my name is E.C. Hill. A former WNBA player back in the day, old school. I'm currently assistant coach at Townsend University in Maryland. Like Angela said, we're in a bad place right now as our country. And what I think about is that what are the cameras? What's about all the stuff that we don't catch on camera? What's really going on? Mm-hmm. And that's really, really scary to have a pandemic going on and also this other stuff going on. We're in a bad situation right now. I'm pretty proud of my other athletes, what they did yesterday. That was a huge step. So now where do we go from there? We made a statement, but how do we move forward and do something different? So that's where I'm at right now.
And before we go into the rest of how is this affecting, like both of you guys are coaches, how is this affecting like your team, your players, the school? Is there anything that you guys are doing or that the players are doing, or what are they talking about, or how is this affecting you guys personally?
Well, right now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, EC.
We're not in school. Everything's online right now. My athletes are here in campus, and we're just dealing with right now trying to keep them safe and try to keep them sane because they've seen all this stuff on the news and stuff like that. But right now, we don't have any workouts. They here on campus and in the dorm, and their own classes are online. So we're doing everything on electronically, trying to keep them sane and trying to keep them safe. And that's what we are as a university.
And that's pretty much where we are. We do have in school classes at Calumet College, but a lot of the classes are virtual. And honestly, a lot of my players are just struggling with COVID-19 and the potential that has. I think we may have had, one person there that was diagnosed with it or may have been thought to have it. And so, of course, you hear that and that just sends everybody in an uproar. And so I'm just being honest. We are struggling. I'm thinking about starting our preseason workouts very soon because we're still preparing as if we're going to have a season. And it's tough because, players are just like, I don't know, you got players that come from different parts of the country. I had two players. One was from Texas. The other one came from Florida. And so they have to be quarantined for a certain amount of time and different things like that. So it's just been, it's been tough trying to manage them and myself and my own family through all of that.
Right.
Okay. So one of the things, so Jordan, you came in. Jordan, tell us a little bit about who you are. So Jordan's from Chicago also. EC's from Chicago. Angela's from Indiana. We still claim you, Angela, though.
Thank you.
Angela, turn up your mic a little bit. People were saying they can't hear you a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, Jordan, tell us who you are, and then we're going to jump right into the questions.
Jordan Hustle, from Chicago, living in LA. Content and production creator for the Source magazine, and then a bunch of just other marketing stuff outside of that. So, yeah.
Right, we'll call you the brand guru of everything. Jordan is the go-to person for everything. So first, let's start with the Milwaukee Bucks because they started all this off. So what did you guys think about the fact that Milwaukee started this off, Orlando, they kind of like went in lockstep yesterday. Do you think it was the right time, right place? What do you guys think about that?
I think it was a bit bold statement, and I'm proud of them. I mean, something has to be done, and for the athletes to jump it off, it's a great start.
Yeah,
it's a great start. But we're not done yet. Like I said earlier, what we're going to do now. I mean, I wanted to last longer. I wanted more than one day, one game. So, but like you said earlier, they're coming back to play tonight. So, what's the step?
I just saw that on television that they were playing tonight. Right. Angela, your thoughts? I can't hear you. Now I lost her altogether.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I apologize. I agree with what EC said. I mean, I think their immediate reaction to it was what needed to happen. I mean, they're right there in Wisconsin. So I think what needed to happen was good. And again, I agree with EC on this. What's next? What's next?
So Jordan, what are your thoughts? I'm going to switch a little bit. So you can answer the Milwaukee question, and then what do you think about Kenny Smith leaving yesterday, walking off the TNT set? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's just I think individuals and entertainment, media, sports in general. I think people are just tired of being put on display, and nothing else. Like there being no front end to being put on display. It's like, yeah, dance, yeah, sing, yeah, rap, yeah, play basketball, play football, and if you don't, we take your contract, or, and I think it's just gotten to a point where enough is enough, and people are now focused on putting resources towards things that are going to create change, and not just being, for lack of a better term, not just being a Buck Jones figure, and being told when and where to play, how to play, but then still at the same time having to answer every single question every single time something like this happens. And the bubble as a whole was already a mental health risk, people being away from their families. And then on top of that, you have to play the game at a high level. And then in the post-game interviews, you have to answer the same questions every damn day. So I think them deciding to not play was huge. I think Kenny's decision was huge. And I just hope people take from that. But at the same time is removing themselves from these platforms, figuring out, what are we going to do next? What is our overall call to action?
Does that say anything that Kenny left and Shaq and Charles just kind of sat there? Or it was just, I mean, to me, that looked very odd that nobody even said anything and they just kind of sat there, their players also. I don't know, Ethan, what do you think about that?
Well, everybody has their own way of dealing with things. So I don't think it was something that it was a surprise to those two other guys that he did that. Yeah. So it was it was no wrong response or the right response. They handled it the way they felt was appropriate. And what he did is what he thinks is best for him. So yeah, I understand.
Yeah. I thought too that it was just, I mean, it was a decision that he made right there on the spot. He didn't have time to really discuss his feelings about it, and he wanted to stand with the NBA players, and I can really applaud that. But then, Shaq's response and Charles Barkley's response was, they had no idea, and so again, it's individuals responding the way that they respond. It's not right or wrong. It's just the way that they responded.
Jordan, what kind of shorts you got on?
Oh man, these are crazy. These my Black Power shorts.
Yeah,
those are nice.
Perfect, fitting for the conversation. But I was like, well, you gotta stand up and show us those shorts.
But yeah, I mean, Charles Barkley's gonna be Charles Barkley. We know his stance on things traditionally. In regards to Shaq, I think Shaq is more of a a behind the scenes support system, Shaq does tremendous work across the board, even from the businesses he owns and the amount of black people he employs that goes undiscussed. Um, I think what Kenny did was based off emotion. Um, he doesn't have the relationships, the day-to-day relationships with as many players as other people does, but Kenny's entrenched in the culture. And I think Kenny's decision was just based off of um, just his sense of not being able to be in control and not being able to control potentially what he was going to say on camera. So I rock with him for that. In regards to Shaq and Chuck not walking off, I would never expect Chuck to walk off.
Right. Yeah, me too. I would.
First thing Charles Barkley did this morning was praise how much white athletes don't have to talk about this, and it's always a deflection from what's really going on with him. But in regards to Shaq, I think Shaq does enough where him not walking off
didn't make a difference. We understood that he was there. So the WNBA. So I didn't understand. So I guess the ladies got fined, and then they decided to do the boycott.
Go ahead. Anybody else's?
Somebody has a device that's close to. It sounds like it's coming from you, but I don't know.
Here, let me check it. I'm sorry. All right, I don't hear it anymore.
Yeah, right. So, well, I hear it a little bit. I don't know. I always turn my devices down. Turn the sound off. Anyone can configure it. So, okay, that was Jordan. So anyway, guys, what about the WNBA? But what did you think about the 7 shots on the back, the 7 red dots on the back to signify the 7 bullet holes, and the fact that they had those shirts spelled out Jacob Blake's name? What did you guys think about that?
Well, what I thought about it, I mean, I thought it was different, but I mean, I thought it was good. I mean, I think it was just their response, their immediate response to what was going on, and just to say that they stand with the movement, the Black Lives Matter movement. They stand with those athletes, are supporting, justice being served. And so I thought it was creative. I mean, it's unfortunate that they had to do that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, for them to take the fine, you know what I mean? For them to kind of jeopardize their financial situation, I thought it was a huge stand.
I think it shows that. I think that it shows everyone that even though they are high-profile athletes, we feel their pain. We go through the same thing. Because sometimes sometimes people feel that, they don't get the bulk of what's going on in the world. We do. And now we have opportunity and a platform to be honest. And I commend those ladies for doing that. And I commend those ladies because they also got a fine, and we don't make the same amount of money as those guys. Oh. So that's a huge, huge sacrifice on their part. So I'm proud of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for them to get fined as well, and they were like, "We're still going to make a statement even though we got fined." We were talking about the women, Jordan.
Yeah,
WNBA players.
I mean, there's no movement without Black women. So I think, I have a different opinion because it bothers me that this continues to be about Black men, and it's always like another Black man shot 7 times. Like, we can't forget Breonna Taylor. We can't forget Sandra Bland. We can't forget like how it's just how we got here as Black men. But I think the stance that they took was important, not only for me but for my daughter, because it shows that money isn't everything. It's not. Some things aren't about money. Some things aren't about attention or clout. Sometimes as a professional, you just aren't in it, and you just don't have the mental capacity to play a sport when you're actually affected by the things that are going on. And I think men in general tend to be so rah that it's easy for men to control the spotlight in this narrative. And I don't think that this narrative is even close to being real without the voice of the Black woman. So a huge round of applause for me for what they opted to do, taking pay cuts, taking the hit because they don't get paid the same. So
and let's not leave out Naomi Osaka because she also boycotted
opted to not play her final round. And I think this is going to be a trend that continues. I think once it goes into other sports, as it's getting into now, I think we'll start seeing the middle of the country suffer. We'll start seeing, people's pockets, politicians' pockets, universities' pockets. I think all of this stuff will be affected, and I think that'll be the point where at least the conversations are beginning to happen.
So I have two more questions. So one question is the NHL, out of all the sports, they set out, they were the only ones that didn't participate yesterday. I mean, even pro soccer participated yesterday. The NHL. Do you think here in Vegas, there's 3 Black players on the night. So we know what that's like across the country. But there are Black NHL players. Why do you think that there was no participation with the NHL? EC, I'm gonna start with you and we'll go around.
Well, I don't really follow the NHL like that, so I'm not really knowledgeable on the league. But
just a guess.
What's that?
I said just a guess.
I don't know. I'll make sure I do my homework before I can make a comment on it. I haven't had an opportunity to read about it, but I don't know. I'm not quite sure right now.
Jordan, what do you think?
70% of the league isn't even American.
Well,
you can have a couple. You can have a couple Black players.
That's a good point.
But you got to think, man. These guys aren't. Their day to day isn't our day to day. When you look at the NBA or Major League Baseball, or even Major League Soccer. Major League Soccer players get treated like crap, especially Black Major League Soccer players. Major League Baseball is America's pastime. The NFL is basically, the slave trade block. And the NBA is the National Black Association. So when you look at the NHL and everybody is from Slovenia or Germany or Russia or Canada, and these aren't their day-to-day issues, they're still in a moment of figuring out what this is. So just like the young lady was just saying, you want to do your due diligence and you want to read up and you want to have conversations with those Black players and you want to figure out, like, what is the culture in the NHL? Nobody knows that. Like, nobody knows what
the only reason why
culture is.
You're right.
So I
You're
think,
absolutely right. The only reason why we brought that up, go ahead.
Yeah, inform themselves. And I think it's on Black players. Like you said, the Black players have to be able to inform their counterparts who may be from other countries. And some of these countries are war-torn countries. So, they don't know what the difference between, civil unrest in their country is and what we're going through here. And I just think it's just the narrative has to stay powerful enough for people that don't know to find out and get the information.
Yeah, I only asked that because the MLB has very players also. More than hockey, though, to your point. But even the MLB set out yesterday. So that's what made me ask that. Was, why did you guys...
There also are brothers from South America. So a lot of the league and even the farm systems. Yeah, you're gonna have your white athletes, but it's such a diverse league from South America. Obviously, a lot of Asian players now, and then your traditional Blacks and whites from America. But I just think there's more of a history with Major League Baseball. There's more of a attraction to come here and play, but you still got leagues in the UK and in Canada that are better than the NHL. So I think the allure of those sports and a lot of these countries where these players come from, again, man, these Dominican baseball players grew up without shoes and they use milk cartons for baseball gloves. So, we're already beaten down. By the time we get to their league, we're beaten down. We don't come from double parent households. We don't come from college being able to be provided for, whether we get a scholarship or not. So I think those dynamics are what make these situations in these leagues so different.
Oh, great facts. Thank you.
But
So,
also too, also too though, they also know that baseball has some history in the past of the Negro League, and they wouldn't let us in the baseball, wouldn't allow us to play. So they had to take a stand because of where they come from. So if they didn't, it probably would hit them hard not to make a statement. So let's
and there
do our
probably
thing in
are
baseball.
true,
What's
and you're
that?
right. There probably are more blacks, at least in baseball, than there are in hockey. So I want to switch a minute just to what brought this all here, which is I'm not going back as far as George Floyd, but I do want to talk about the Jacob Blake situation. Jordan, mute your thing for a second. I want to see who's bringing this status.
I definitely don't think it's me. So I'm gonna mute my mic.
Okay, mute your mic for a second. I'm gonna see. It might be me. I probably got more devices than everybody. Okay, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's me. I don't know. But anyway, let's talk about Jacob Blake for a second. So they came on TV yesterday and they said that Jacob Blake had a knife. He admitted that he had a knife under the floorboard of his car. Similar to the George Floyd situation, he started on one side of the car and it ended up on the other side of the car. I still, this is me, feel like even if he had a knife, you guys had tased him. Why is it that there's 5 officers here and he's still getting shot in the back? Y'all couldn't tackle him or anything. But yet, if you saw on TV last night in Kenosha, the guy who's the kid, the 17-year-old, walked down the street and everybody was saying, he shot the people, he shot the people. He walked down with his gun and the cops was giving him Wi-Fi and everything else. So I think they made their case of how they treat people differently. Because now they're saying, I told my daughter the other day, they're going to come up and say he had a weapon. And here we go, we got the knife. Does that change anything? For me, it doesn't. Who's that?
That's me. Sorry.
Okay. So you see you first because I know you have to go first. Does that change anything? He had a knife on the floorboard. They couldn't get him with the taser. They couldn't hold him down. Does that change anything for you?
When I saw the footage, I thought like he was clearly walking around the car. They could have pinned him down before he got to that point. That's how I look at it. Like there's things they could have handled something before the shooting came.
Yeah.
Before he even reached it, before he even got to the door. So I think that they had opportunity to control the situation, and they didn't.
Right. But there was what, 4 cops out there? At least
Yeah.
4. Okay, Angela, change anything for you?
Yeah, you know what? I agree with her. Watching the video, I feel like they didn't have to use that much force. They could have done something before he got to the car door. They could have tackled him. They could have done something other than shoot him 7 times. That is excessive. That is excessive to me.
Right. Are you drinking on my broadcast, Jordan? Are you drinking on my broadcast? This is a PC broadcast.
I'm an apple juice drinker. I have to have my.
Okay, yeah, that looks more like Crown Royal, but okay. Was that apple juice?
Heavens no, Crown. Oh my God.
What does it change anything for you?
No.
The fact that they say he had a gun, the fact that they said a knife, they tased him, he wouldn't stop. Why not?
It changes nothing for me. I think that this is the new protocol. I think black men have to realize what we're up against. I think we have to have some conversation about how to handle while wanting to be upset and while wanting to be defiant and while wanting to be like, not me. I think that right now we have to play the long game. I think that as soon as we show any aggression during an arrest or during a stop, I think as soon as we show aggression, it makes them aggressive because they're already scared.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you tell somebody I have a weapon under my floorboard, if I'm going to be tackled or apprehended, I shouldn't even get back to my car door. If there's that many people. So when I look at the video and I see you coming with force, you came here with your gloves on. You didn't
Right.
come here with the anticipation of stopping a domestic dispute. You came here being like, okay, I'm in the hood. People are going to have their phones out. It's going to be a nervous situation.
Yeah.
Right now, the temperature in the country is extremely hot. And I think this is their new protocol. I think what we're seeing, for someone to pull a gun and shoot close range 7 times, that means you're squeezing until you think about it. Like I'm a street guy. So I've seen a lot of things, and I know that to squeeze a trigger 7 times is premeditated. You wanted to do that. He wanted to do it. They have no policy to where they'll be apprehended themselves. They'll be locked up. They'll be arrested. They'll be charged. They get severance pays. They get to go, to these oceanfront towns and live their lives and get basically their same exact salary on retirement. So no, none of that changes anything for me. I'm terrified to the point where if I get pulled over, I'm damn near gonna be face down before they even get the chance to tell me to be face down, because I'm not.
And I don't know if you guys saw a couple weeks ago with a guy or a lady and her kids on the ground, face down. And they won't even listen to them. I mean, all of this is some kind of weird culture going on. So before we have to go, guys, I'm going to ask you guys one more question, and then I want you guys to give me a wrap-up statement. So my final thing is, what do our athletes, what can they do now? What as the follow-up? Because you guys have both said, everybody's like, what's the follow-up? I'm going to start EC, Angela, George, EC, what can be done? What can they do as a follow-up so that this wasn't a one-day show, a one-trick pony event?
Every time they get the opportunity, I know they have to play tonight. The games are back on, but every time they get a platform, they have to be vocal. Make sure they understand what we saying on TV, what's going on. Every time they have the opportunity to say something, wear something. Use the platform to show that we're tired of this and we need to get change. So use your platform to voice your opinions on what's going on.
Angela?
Again, what she said is so true. I think you have to use your platform wisely because everybody doesn't have the same platform that you do, especially the professional athletes. You know what I mean? It's the black ones. You have to use that platform because really you're in leadership, whether you believe it or not. And not only are you in leadership, but you're a role model to a lot of different people, a lot of different children that are looking up to you. They're looking to see how you're going to respond. And so, what can I do to make a difference in the world? Because I'm not blind to this. Everybody is saying this. So now what am I going to do? What is my team going to do? What are we going to get together and form and put together so that we can make a difference in what's going on in our country?
Jordan, what's the follow-up plan?
Man, look, go home. Go back home. Go home.
Huh?
I'm telling with these players what they need to do. They need to go back to the cities that they're from.
Mm-hmm.
They need to figure out who else in these leagues are from these same cities, these same areas. They need to sit down and have some real conversation.
Yeah.
And the people that ain't just about voting. They have to reprogram America. If we're going to give them this much power, then they got to reprogram America, or at least Black America, Yellow America, and Brown America to vote for the right things. As long as we think that Donald Trump controls everything, then we're in the dark. If we're not voting for the chief of police, if we're not voting for the chief of education, if we're not voting for the head of sanitation, if we're not voting for the mayors and the aldermen, local prosecutors, we got to pay attention to these ballots. So that's what I would say. Put money into going back home, not having these nonprofits that ain't really doing nothing for nobody, coming in, being there Monday, leaving Tuesday, people still having questions. Go back home. Go home and employ some people who have their feet on the ground. Take some of them millions. Don't go back to LA. Don't go back to Miami. Take your ass home. Have some conversations with your local representatives so that you can set a template so people know who to talk to when you're gone. That's what they need to do. If you ain't gonna be in the bubble no more, don't let me see you in Mexico. Don't let me see you out here in LA at the club. Don't let me catch you in the Bay. Go home, man. Go home and figure out what's going on and how we can start creating templates for these small towns and these big cities and overall the country.
because what you say is so true. It's paramount. Because I always remember about Jaylen Rose, right? I used to work with Jaylen back in the day. Even though he did a lot for Chicago, he went back to Detroit and built a school. You know, LeBron went back to his hometown and built a school. And I think that is one of the things that are missing. I think to your point, especially with LA, places like that, they get all enamored with the LA lifestyle and people want them to put their money in LA and they need to be putting their money where their family live at.
Yep.
And that's important. So guys,
who's looking up to him? It's not how many kids in the hood ain't got cable. How many kids in the hood can only see one game a week? It ain't like we can't look at the youth as being a level playing field, because the kids that are back home are the kids that don't have the resources. So those are the kids that's where we need you to be. You cannot make any change as long as reality is messed up. And a lot of these kids' reality, you can't change culture without changing reality. And if we're not changing the reality in our communities and we're just eager to get somewhere else, ain't nothing gonna ever happen.
And I just read the other day that all of these kids that'll be doing at-home learning in some of these urban communities don't have internet, don't have iPads, but they're expected to do their work on the internet at home with mom.
I talk about it every day.
With mom who doesn't have an education.
Every day on the source, I talk about it, because we're not even paying attention to what's happening as an effect of that. We're looking at domestic abuse going up. We're looking at child abuse going up. We're looking at runaways. We're looking at foster care being all over the place. We're not even diving into the things that these moments are affecting. And that's sad, because we're going to have to deal with a new generation of detached kids, because where are their attachments? Who are they attached to? Like sports, music, they're attached to rappers, they're attached to YouTube. There's no person to person anymore. We got to get back to that.
Okay, EC, this is our final round. Whatever it is that we forgot to mention or you want to mention, or we are working on EC's book guide. So hopefully this year her book will be out. Her and I are working profusely on that, so I just want to throw that in. Go ahead, babe.
Well, I just want to piggyback on what Hustle just said, because that's a huge piece of never forget where you come from. Go back into your community. And sometimes it's not even about money. It's about you being visible and giving them a testimony to see that they can make it out. And I really believe you got to pay it forward and give back to your community. So I think that's a big piece of what he's saying, that we need to do that. Go back into the trenches where you got started at and cuff somebody and grab somebody and educate somebody. And also be a vehicle for and be a testimony for kids who can see. So it's going to be important how we move forward. High school level, collegiate level, other levels.
We're getting
I'm sorry.
Right now.
I'm telling Hustle, I can't hear you. Oh, he's talking to somebody else. Hold on. EC is finishing up.
Well, I'm done. That was really it. That's all I had to say, really. So,
okay. And before Angela goes, it's also important for you guys to tell people to vote. Your kids that are of age, make sure they vote. This is important, because a lot of times they think their vote doesn't count. They need to register to vote, and they do need to vote. Go ahead, Angela. Final word.
Well, my final word is this. I believe in athletic leadership, and I believe athletes are leaders all across the board. And I just believe, again, your platform is important. Going back to your community is important. And, once we can get some of the athletes that have made it to come back to some of these communities to be an influence, I think, we'll start to see some change. But I mean, it's so many different aspects of what could happen or what should happen. But it all starts with that athlete being a leader where he is or where she is.
Okay, Jordan, final word?
Stand for something or fall for everything.
All right. Okay, guys, I want to thank you guys for sharing your time with me. Sorry we had to do a quick wrap-up. Maybe next time we'll have more time to promote it. This will be promoted on Facebook, Twitter. You guys know that. And I will send you guys the link. It's going to be up as soon as, and it's going to be up as soon as we're done. But we promote it on the Life After Sports page. So when it's done, it'll probably have about 5,000 views on it. And then make sure that you guys can share it out from there. And next time, if you guys have anything you want to put in the banner in the bottom, we can advertise it for you. I love you guys. Love you, ET. Talk to you later. That's my little sister right there. I love both of you, all of you guys, actually. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Are you coming to Vegas, Jordan?
I'll be in Vegas on the 10th.
Okay, all right.
Me and you, get on me.
All right. Okay.
All right, kid.